Hi there, it's Hamish from Call of the Wild, our Wild Wednesday plant. And as I said to you, I'm going to choose my favourite plant, which is the dandelion. I've grown over 700 different types of varieties when we had a herb nursery, and I'd always say to people, guess what my favourite herb is? And they'd never guess, because it's the dandelion. Let me share a few stories with you about the dandelion. It's called dandelion, which is den to the lion's teeth, and I love doing this with kids. Is you pick a leaf and you can see why it's called the lion's teeth, just like that. Anyway, to get kids to interact with the dandelion, I think it's a great way to start a story. And just even on that story, before we start talking about medicinally or food wise, to get a child to integrate with the dandelion is so important. The teeth of a lion, and you can make a story up with that. The other thing which is brilliant with dandelion is you get, when you pick it, I'm going to bring this over. Can you see this white milky sap? I don't know if you can see that. What you can do with this is you can make Hana Tattoos. Just dub it onto your hand like this. You see how that's giving me a white ring? That will dry quite soon. And when it dries and it looks like a brown birthmark. And so you could make a pretty pattern on your hand. It does wash off, maybe after a day or so. But it's great fun to make a Hana tattoo. Also, why not, instead of, we all make dandelion, daisy chains, but actually get children and sit down and make a chain of dandelions. You know how to do it. You press a little hole with your thumbnail in the base of one, says I. The other beauty of making dandelion chains or daisy chains with children or head garlands is you are now surrounded by a peace. You're not using your phones and conversation can start. The babbling of a river, peace and the birds singing, and that's when you can connect with children. So why not make a dandelion necklace? Anyway, that's enough about really of how to interact with children and get them interested in plants and nature herself. But the dandelion, first and foremost, is a medicine. The leaf, you probably saw in that salad, the leaf is brilliant to put into a salad. Don't just do a dandelion salad though, because it's going to taste pretty bitter. What I like to do with dandelion is pick some and half them and put them into a salad. It is a very bitter herb, which is good because our diets are so filled with sugars and salts, we forget how important it is to have bitters in our diet, to stimulate our stomach and to get her working. So really, dandelions in that format of a food are brilliant. It's also a diuretic. In France, they would have called it a pialou, I think it is, or makes you wet the bed. So it is a diuretic in that respect. But actually, for me, it's just a brilliant way to not just play with the plant, but actually to ingest it and take into your body. The flowers, well, you can collect the yellow flowers when they're full like this, and you can put them into a jar of oil, good olive oil, or extra virgin olive oil or almond oil or something, and let them sit in the oil for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then strain them out, and you've got a dandelion oil, which is brilliant to use if you've got aching muscles, to rub it into your muscles. You can make a beer from the flower. It's absolutely disgusting, but at that time I think my son was about 18. He and his chums loved it, but I can definitely not recommend making a beer. You're better to make a muscle rub with the flower. Also, the flower, not just the leaves are edible, but the petals also are edible, and they look beautiful if you're going to decorate a salad with them, or put them into a cocktail. Put the flowers into a whole cocktail. They're brilliant that way. Also, the dandelion root of the plant itself, you can dig up the root. When you're digging up a root of a plant, you're really asking the plant to give you all her life and all her energy. So there's always a deep respect to be had when you're working with plants. The root you can dab onto warts or verrucas, that same white sap, and it will get rid of your warts and verrucas. So the dandelion is also a plant. It's a food. It's something children can work with. It's a medicine, but it's also a carrier of a message. I know of one lady that was going through a very difficult time in her life and waiting at a bus stop, and there growing the crevice of the bus stop was this dandelion in full flower. And for her at that point, she's thinking, how can this dandelion be in full flower? How can it be so happy? Maybe my life, I need to show a bit of determination, strong will, and start smiling and bring my life together. And she did. And that dandelion brings her to tears when she sees it sometimes or starts talking about it. Plants have a power of changing our lives, and I think the dandelion is the best place to start, in that it is a transforming plant and one that If she can grow in crevices, then you can do anything. The dandelion, next time you see her, smile to yourself and know that you are being loved. The universe is smiling with you.